Hey y'all, so I decided to come by and do a late night quick discussion for you guys if you wanted to go down this rabbit hole. Um, I wanted to come and talk about, again, I'm going to come back and reiterate the amount of broken people on this website who were abused as children, who have been coming for me for well over 10 years instead of actually really facing their demons. I understand that shadow work can be hard as hell, but it's something that people are going to have to do. But they are taught on some level to not do that, especially when it comes to, what I do for a living, right? And so last night we touched upon the topic of me being attacked because of people's unresolved issues with their mother. My children being attacked because somehow people want to heal their inner child by attacking children and women, as well as single mothers. So, yesterday, as I'm sitting here listening to this extremely broken and disturbed person speak to me, speak about me while lying, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, he wants to say that to his mother. End of story. A lot of these adults that you see on here that, like, okay, in 2012 or 2011 or even 2010, many of us came on here and we spoke about maybe minor frustrations with our parents. But if you notice, going up to 2018, 2019, 2020, even, wait a minute, even 2013, 2014, even when we were still having these issues with our mothers, we stopped talking about it. We talked about it and moved on. Literally for 10 years straight, well over 10 years, these very same people, who, by the way, are advocating for people like myself to be seen as demons and demonic and bad people because we encourage shadow work to be done so that people can face their music. I'm sitting there listening to this person and I'm like, oh, he's talking to his mother. And I went about my day. He tried to tell me I was a bad mother. Why is that? Because I got my children out of danger. I kept my children out of danger. Really weird, really strange. It's called the misuse and abuse of the Divine Mother. Now, obviously, when this situation first came about, my channel name used to be thedivinemommy.com. And it was like this specific group of people who I never aligned myself with. Um, they went nuts over that. And I mean, the initial dude, his name is Reginald P. Jones, RPJ. The initial dude, he now I heard that he's not doing so well. And it's not because of me, it's because of himself. When you don't properly deal with those toxic energies, like my mother didn't abuse me. My mother had disagreements with me after I became an adult. She didn't agree with certain things that I believed in. But other than that, my mother was never abusive to me. My father spanked me a couple of times, but I never dealt with regular abuse on a daily basis. Like I actually grew up in a very loving household. My grandmother was amazing, family very close knit. had nothing to do with it, right? Nothing. The abuse was never a factor. Like I can honestly say that about both of my parents as well as my family. This person yesterday that was raging against me, trying to project his childhood trauma to me, is consistently trying to make my children relive his trauma. And I'm going to tell y'all key points of this. I'm going to break it down psychologically for y'all. His mother was Jehovah's Witness and refused to allow him to celebrate holidays. This is a fact. This is something that I noticed about this person because I'm going to tell you something. When I dealt with him, I went into deep cover. Hold on, y'all, because I'm not going to be here that long. I'm not. I won't be here that long. I got to get my milk because I'm gonna go up here and finish watching my movie and drink milk and cookies. His mother was Jehovah's Witness, and his mother abused him as a child. It wasn't just that she didn't allow him to celebrate holidays because she was a Jehovah's Witness, but it was also the other types of abuses that he suffered. Okay. However, he doesn't want to admit to that. Sorry, y'all. He doesn't want to admit to that because he cannot deal with it. What he doesn't remember is that early on, he gave me a lot of details about the abuse he suffered as a child. Now, this person, keep in mind, during this abuse, a monster was created within him. So I guess because he was abused and he's now an adult alcoholic and he's got problems, I guess that meant that people were supposed to be held hostage, you know, not physically. Well, he was trying to physically hold us hostage. That didn't work. But then I guess socially, social media hostage every day. That's what it kind of feels like he's trying to do. That is what he's trying to do. And the denial just gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I am here to tell you that this dude was factually abused as a child. Does that make me feel sorry for him? No, because he's done way too much to try to hurt me and my children and my family. So, hold on, make sure that I am up here. So, he tries to play around with black magic. He tries to play around with witchcraft also. So, what I started noticing is that this dude was literally trying to make my children become him as a child. He was trying to make my children become him as a child and me become his mother as a child. It's one of my friends described it as like a Norman Bates, um, like a Norman Bates type of situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's been going on for quite some time where this guy refuses to just go and get some mental help. Now, everybody that has witnessed the whole thing for years, because nobody's going to allow him to rewrite history. Everybody that has looked at the situation for years knows that I could see it. And I even tried to take him in to help him. Well, let's just say I made it out of that alive, me and my children. The point that I'm trying to make is that you can't make other people you. But I believe that these specific abuse victims, I believe that they, I believe that they do it on a very deep unconscious level, not on a subconscious level, but a very deep unconscious level. Because what this guy doesn't remember, and part of the reason is because he was able to fight his siblings and get most of his mother's money for her house, is that he expressed nothing but hatred for his mother before she died. In fact, was saying that evil doesn't die easily. Now his story is that his mother was a great mother and she never did anything to him, but somehow I am now his mother. He's trying to make me his mother. And it's really, really weird to watch that mental illness play out and for him to have nobody in his life whatsoever to help him with his suffering. Now, keep in mind, I tried to let him in my life and I regret every second of it. Okay. It was never any progress. In fact, he just ended up getting worse and worse and worse. The abuse got worse and worse. I believe that he was verbally abused. I believe it was a lot of emotional abuse that his mother sent him through. And I also believe that he was not allowed to celebrate the holidays. I don't know why, but it just seems like not all of them, but the Jehovah's Witnesses that I have ran into, they have a tendency to be abusive. Okay. So and we all know about, we've heard about them. Okay. And you can just look it up. Anyway, my point is that um it's obvious that this dude suffers every single day. Every day. My kids are happy. All of my kids are happy. My kids are loved. I would never raise my children Jehovah's Witness. In the past year, I have experienced financial issues, but experiencing financial issues is not abuse. Only in the past year of their lives in which I am recovering fully from because I got away from this guy and it's nothing he can do about it. Even if I were poor, dirt poor, being dirt poor does not make you a bad parent. There are a lot of people that were raised with less than, and they were raised just very happily. He was raised poor, but also treated poorly, which is a double whammy, which is why he has a complex when it comes to money. He has a complex when it comes to women. He has a complex when it comes to children because he was mistreated as a child. This guy has a problem with single mothers because at the time, mainly when the abuse was happening, it may have led up whenever his mother got with his stepfather. But from what he told me, it got worse when she remarried, when his because apparently when his father left her, she took it out on the kids. You know what I'm saying? And so this very same person, like in which I know and everybody knows the entire history, but yet he's being enabled to come on here and avoid that. And for me, what I do is I just protect us from any and all negative energy, is what I do. And which is really all that you can do. It's never going to be a time where you're going to somehow magically or spiritually make my children your scapegoat because denial is necessary a lot of the times for people to avoid the haunting memories of abuse. It's a form of denial. Projection is a form of denial. No, I didn't go through that. You went through that. Well, if you look at my kids, you can tell that they're loved. This dude has scars, stab wounds. He's got all kinds of stuff, all kinds of problems. You look at my children, they don't have any scars on their body, none whatsoever. You ask my children, they feel loved. In fact, I always wanted to be a mother. And even though, because he talked about me for receiving Section 8, to help me pay the bills, which I'm not worried about that, but you know, I still raised my children in a very secure household to where they were not abused. They know that they are loved. And so this is being done on a daily basis because I went through being poisoned by this dude. I went through being attacked by this dude, me and my children. I mean, literally, when we were in Georgia, he was stalking us. Even when I told him, I said, go away, leave us alone. We've got the police helping us get away from you. I've got friends here helping me. He continued the stalking, and the stalking has continued on the internet for 2 months. Like, it's time for this dude to get some help. Why isn't he receiving any help for his issues? Why is he being supported and enabled to come on here? Is it to protect the memory of his mother? Well, I can promise you that I'm going to make sure that the memory is clear. He even told me that his mother, if you know who I'm talking about, he told me that his mother would do insurance scams on her kids, and literally to where they had to have physical injuries in order for her to get an insurance payment check. He would love for me to forget about that, but I don't. And it's not just about him. I don't understand why he just won't go and deal with his issues and stop attacking people on a daily basis. We're not here, nor does anyone on this earth exist to be your scapegoat or your Jesus to where somebody has to die for you. This dude comes online and he has been online literally wishing death on me and my children for over a year now. And you got people that are taking it as entertainment, and it's not entertainment. I can promise you that real things were happening in that situation because of this person who is very mentally ill, very mentally and emotionally unstable, is being encouraged. And for what? But this is how these people deal with it. Now, he obviously was sent to respond to the live stream that I did yesterday, the day before yesterday, or either yesterday, the one that's entitled, in case you missed it, Attacking Children is Not Going to Heal Your Inner Child. So it's something to that effect. And if you notice, the situation tends to get worse around the holidays because that's when a lot of his abuse played out during the holidays. Keep in mind, his mother was an alcoholic like he is. That's how she ended up with kidney disease and died early because she refused to stop drinking so much. Now, I have already stated that I'm waiting until after the holidays to apply for a restraining order. I refuse, and that's only it's not because he's ever going to come anywhere near us, but it's to stop him from attacking us on the internet, and then also get him in a courtroom where his behavior can be discussed, so that a judge can go ahead and see his behavior and hear the story, so that they can go ahead and get him some mental help. because I can assure you that that's where it starts, because clearly his family is not responsible enough to contain him and to handle him. I am not here to take on his iniquities. I am not here to be punished for the behavior of his mother. I love my children. I almost died for my children. I have always been a good mother. And it really, really irritates me, these people that had horrible, abusive mothers that beat the crap out of them and abused them think that they can protect themselves and protect their mothers by coming on here and trying to point the finger and then also trying to send that negative karma to me. Also, another thing, I am an energy expert. You try to send your negative karma to me, your karmic destiny to me and my children, and it's never going to touch us. The only time that it did touch us is when I was foolish enough to trust this person, that of which I will never do again. Now, this person's story is that he fed me our entire lives, which is not the truth. Uh, and really, to be honest with you, it was literal starvation. It was very weird, the narcissistic abuse that was being used, which is why we had to hurry up and get home. And trust me, as soon as we got home, my family was cooking for us because we were literally going through the motions. And then I still had work to do because there was some other stuff going on that I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to mention this too much of the spiritual aspect of this, but all I can tell you is that these people that come on here and they try to use other people, complete strangers on the internet, to try to spew their negative karma, spew their hurt, spew their abuse so that they can remain in denial, because at the same time, they are still trying to do what is called keep up appearances, because that's what they were taught to do. See, with my family, with my parents, I never had to keep up appearances. It's just my parents loved me and they took care of me and raised me. These people are trying to keep up appearances. Something is going to have to give with that. And it is going to more than likely be a restraining order that's not going to come until after the holidays. I'm not touching it until after the holidays because I don't want to deal with no legal issues looming. Because, of course, once the court order is filed, well, I could apply for an emergency ex parte order. Um, I've never lived with this guy. I don't live with him. He's not in my home. Really, to be honest with you, I'm more concerned about the people that have to live with this guy. He's a ticking time bomb. Nothing about that situation is normal. Nothing about it. So, it's not my responsibility. I know how to protect my family. I know how to protect my children. I'm not the one with this maniac living in my house. Okay? I don't have him living in my house. I don't sleep under the same roof with him. Never have and never wanted to either, you know? So it makes no sense that none of the people around him will go ahead and buckle down and say, hey, we got to get you some help. It's mainly because he's able to come online and he's able to take his rage out on people. But the thing that he's doing with my children ain't going to fly. The things that he's doing with me ain't going to fly. It's not. Okay. So I wanted to make that be known. He wants to be a bully, but I don't want to say I'm the bully, but I will destroy him. His family needs to get him. I will destroy him. My ancestors will destroy him. I believe they call my ancestors savages. They will destroy him. Okay. You know, and I have no empathy. Who I have empathy for is the people that this person attacks. You know, all of the lies and the stigmas that definitely are of his mother. It's his mother. If you guys know who I'm talking about, his mother was very, very abusive to him. I've always had a very peaceful home. I have never, ever, ever in my life ever mistreated, especially my own children. But I've never mistreated any children. And that's a fact. Everybody knows the truth because of the way he comes on here and he roasts children. When is his family going to take responsibility for their problems, which is him? He's a problem. Y'all have a private issue that needs to be, it's not about me. I don't have anything to do with it. He needs to go see a therapist, or either he needs to check himself into a mental hospital along with a lot of these other people. Truthfully, to be honest with you, it is a mode of survival for these people, but they're not surviving. They're not winning. They can come on here and be as crude and rude as they want. We don't have any roots in abuse. A person that has been abused probably would be very sensitive to that. I'm not sensitive to it because I don't have that inkling inside of me. There's no root for them to attach to. There's no root in my children. And then also keep in mind, just FYI, my children never hear that stuff that he says. I want people to know that they have never heard him speak about them in that way, ever. Now, the past year, when we were kind of hotel hopping in Georgia, uh, well, we stayed in the extended hotel, but even then, even then, however, they did learn more about what was going on. But other than that, I always protected and shielded my children because I would never be with a man that abuses children. That would just be stupid. Never. Well, his mother did. He told me about how his stepfather was abusive. Why is nobody pointing this out? Why can't anybody see this clearly? And that's just like when they made up that sexual lie about me. An innocent person will never suffer for the crimes of another. Not this person. And so why should we have to be attacked every single day because this dude can't get his head together? He's a grown man. If you are a grown person at this point, you are responsible for your own mental health. And I'm gonna tell you something. Some of my clients have been abused as children, and they would never come at me like that. Never. Because they've done the work, they've gotten the help. They, you know, if it's a client that came from abuse, I always have them get like professional psychiatric help is a requirement for that, for me to even help them, for me to even help them spiritually. They have to be seeking professional mental help as well. Because unless you're a high priestess or somebody that's very, uh, you know, somebody that has a lot of self control, you can't really do that for, you know, it's not a good thing because spirituality can sometimes make it worse. And it's a very, very, very sensitive thing. It is. I'm encouraging people to, to stop enabling this person because that they just suffer. They're not going to tell you that they're suffering. And maybe the person deserves the suffering. I mean, honestly, this person knows that I know because he's confessed it to me. This person knows that I know the truth, but this person wants empathy. Well, I can't give you any empathy when you are attacking the people that I love the most, when you are attacking my family, when you are literally trying to give my family a bad name that doesn't belong to us, it belongs to you. I believe one time he described his mother as a monster. Now, if he is being encouraged by people in that group that need to see, because I noticed that those people kind of they get a kick out of that, which I don't understand why, because you're just taking advantage of somebody that's mentally ill. Him, very mentally ill, very emotionally unsound and imbalanced, that needs help. Literally, I have been gone away from Georgia. It will be almost a couple of months that I have been gone from Georgia. Nobody's thinking about this person, but yet they encourage him. You can even see them. They'll say, "Oh, she's just obsessing over you," and no, I'm not. And he'll go, "Yeah, yeah, that's what she doing." No, I'm not. I'm asking you to leave me alone and move on with your life. He can't move on with his life. Keep in mind that when I first caught wind of this person, he was doing the same exact thing. The only difference is that I wasn't hardly paying any attention to him at all. So I didn't know half of the stuff that he was doing, half of the stuff that he was saying until I started paying attention. I said, my God, I said, this person is really, really sick. So, again, my baby to get a kick out of or get off on trying to harm children to make himself feel better. He is now the mom that he hates. But just FYI, children are all happy. My daughter and babies were very happy to see their family when we got back. Tried to speak on my family. Listen, and so it's really sad to see somebody go through that, and then also dealing with a person like me. I am not your average person. I am not, because I don't appreciate it. And you know what, if a person is in there was a story that I was looking at, Ed Gein. They actually just made a Netflix movie about him. I would say that probably this guy grew up with abuse level, if on a sliding scale of 1 to 10, it would be an 8. Well, Ed Gein, I think, went through like quadruple that amount. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Unicali. So, obviously, this person has never actually been loved in his life. If this is not my problem, this is not my fault. I was not going to stay in that situation so that I could just literally be this dude's punching bag, is literally what he expected. And then he also wanted to maintain his persona on YouTube, which as 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 I guess being a hero for all of these sick-minded people, but he wanted to maintain a relationship with me. It was really weird. I got out of it as soon as I could. um, and I'm dating somebody, he really, really, really needs to move on with his life. And then he'll say, well, you're not showing any of your life. Well, I don't feel comfortable with doing that. And then also, i- you know, if I wanted to just like upload a picture and like just because I'm sure my dude wouldn't mind, he'd probably be like, yeah, go ahead, I don't feel comfortable with that because then they would be trying to find out his identity and harassing him, and don't nobody want to be harassed. That's why I keep my life off of YouTube. Hold on. I'm a hag, but yet I have oh shoot, what did I do? Is it frozen? Hold on. Sorry about that, y'all. So I'm a hag, but yet I have a 12-year-old kid. People are usually not considered to be a hag until they're in their 80s or 90s. I'm starving to death every day, but yet I'm fat. I have a roof over my head and getting ready to move into my own place, but yet I'm homeless. This person is a ticking time bomb in a rage, and honestly, when somebody is behaving that way, they need a wellness check because why are you freaking out? What are you so upset about? Why are you so upset? How do you stay angry for that long? And it's because it's daily rage. This guy is filled with rage. And I ain't about to have them take that rage out on me online. You're not going to come on here and continuously lie on me and project your abusive mother to me. That's exactly what we dealing with. One of my friends said he's a male. He said we see him as like a Norman Bates type, basically, because he's got mommy issues, like seriously. And a lot of these people do. A lot of them do. And they covet these people because they think that it's healing. They think that it's healing. Well, y'all know I'm a water sign, right? My youngest child is a water sign. He's a Pisces. It's like they can sniff it out because he was wishing death on my eldest daughter, who is a Pisces too. We are water, but we are protected. We will never absorb your negativity ever, ever. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't even a threat of jail. It is literally at this point, his time has been up a long time ago. And he needs to understand that first of all, his life has already started falling apart. He needs to understand that God is not playing with him. He needs to understand that I am not playing with him. And I don't care about him. I have no love for that person. The only people that I am concerned about is my children, my grandchildren, and my family and my other loved ones. Otherwise, I don't care about this dude. I don't. I have no love for him whatsoever. I don't have any empathy for him. I think that he is ridiculous. I think he needs to admit that he has a problem. He's also an alcoholic, which makes it worse. And I don't have to deal with that. Every woman has a choice. You can't just force somebody, and literally every single day he's almost trying to hold people hostage. I have never in my life been in a situation where I felt like he had power. And as far as I'm concerned, he ain't got no power except for to piss me off. I'm serious. Like like a lot of people, and what's crazy is that people like that, they will follow around empaths, they will follow around healers, and they'll be expecting for us to just take it. That's not what we exist for. That's not what we're here for. In fact, he ain't never gave me no dollar amount to dealing with him, dealing with his evil would literally take, I would say, tens of thousands of dollars, if not 100,000. You ain't paid me enough to deal with this mess. You could never pay me enough to deal with that. He can't pay me to deal with that. He can't. So, I wanted to come and make that clear for people. And he can get mad all he wants, but it's the truth. He's trying to change the story because he wants to make it seem like his life was all, good, and he doesn't want to disrespect his mother. Yeah, but you can't try to suffer other people. We all know your mother was abusive to you. We all know that. We're not going to forget about that. We're not going to forget about him literally lying. And who says that their mother dies? Like he told me his mother didn't die until 2020. He lied and said his mother died. Exactly, blocked. He lied to me in 2019 just so that I would like meet up with him in 2019. He lied and said that his mother died. Who does that? Who does that? And it's clear. Like nobody, listen, when you look at my kids' social media, they just smiling. You know what I'm saying? They doing their thing. Okay, Jacob doesn't have a social media, but Jacob is like a computer whiz kid. He is so intelligent, y'all. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we can all tell that your mother was abusive by the way that you behave and the way that you speak to children. We pretty much can see your whole childhood. We can see your Gotta wait for my sound to come back, okay? Because I just took my headphones out. We can see what you're dealing with. We can see that clearly, and nobody else has to suffer for what your mother did, and we're not going to suffer for what she did. We haven't suffered. We went through things when we were in Georgia, but we're good now. But we're just tired of this dude like trying to use us to cope, trying to misuse, the situation, and all of that has been cut out. It has. It's been cut out. He's not able to do that anymore, and it's gonna backfire on him at this point because it's not nobody's fault but your mother. It's your mother's fault. Your mother did that to you. Nobody over here has done that to their children. um my children have always been allowed to celebrate holidays, and he gets worse during the holidays. And that's why I told y'all, I said, just enjoy y'all holidays, man. To quit paying attention to that miserable dude, unless you just like to see people suffer. But take everything that he says with a grain of salt, because ain't none of that true about me. His mother really, really mistreated him as a child, and it's probably because she was angry at his father. I have no idea. He just lies and makes up stuff. Like you can tell that his mother just literally kept up a bunch of drama, kept him under a constant state of either emotional, verbal, or physical abuse. You can tell. You can tell by his body. It's filled with scars, it's filled with bullet holes. You can tell by his history. And he's not coping with it very well. He's not. He can come on there and he can say, Well, I believe in Jesus Christ, and a lot of people should be pissed off and angry about that, because if you go to his channel, there's a picture of him claiming that he's the devil's son, which is very disrespectful. The stunt that he's been pulling the past couple of days, I've got the full IC3 report. I went ahead and did a paper trail on it. What he's been doing with the hyperlinks. I've been saving his hyperlinks, even though I've been flagging him. I've been saving his hyperlinks. Stalking on the internet is against the law. Whenever you get through, it is what it is. And I have no problem with contacting my local police. And I can promise you that the police over here are very different than the police in Georgia. They follow up on stuff big time, quick. So, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I really hope that a lot of you guys that know about this situation, I really hope that a lot of you guys stop paying attention to that person. Enjoy your holidays, because he's not. And he wants as many people as miserable as he is. And he ain't got no power to stop nobody's money. He ain't got no power to starve nobody. He ain't got no power to do nothing to nobody. None of them do. But they do have the only power that they have is to do outlandish things to get people's attention. That's it. And it's ridiculous. Okay. So I just wanted to say that I've been so happy since getting back, just being able to see my daughters whenever I want, being around my family. Uh, just being back home has been amazing, and I just want to let y'all know that we're doing amazing. Why does this guy want our life to be miserable, which he doesn't have the power to do that? Because he's miserable. He needs to go and get some help. End of story. End of story. There. What else can I say? All right, guys, that's all I had time for. I was outside. I decided to go ahead and do this quick live because I wanted to go smoke a cigarette. And now I'm gonna sit here, and you know what? Honestly, what I want all of my peeps to do is to take the information, take the blessings that I'm giving to you, and don't even think about it. When I get off of here after dealing with this crazy cockamamie, weird, goofy, off, ippity, bluppity, blip stuff, I don't even think about him. That's what I'm saying. Like, literally, like, especially when I first got back, oh my God, I definitely was not thinking about him. 'Cause I love my hometown. I'm going up to Tasso's tomorrow to get me some Greek food, baby. I ain't been to Tasso's yet. And then Sunday I'm going to Gates. So, nobody over here is thinking about him. I don't my kids have not even heard me say his name. They deserve that. They do not deserve to constantly be reminded of this extremely evil, abusive dude that did what he did. And trust me, it was a lot. It was a lot, including but not limited to putting drugs and pharmaceuticals in food and alcoholic drinks. Yeah. So he knows exactly what he was up to and how sick he is. He knows it. It's been normalized for him, and he gets a way out because people just, oh yeah, you didn't do anything. You did everything perfect, and you did, and it's kind of like, yeah, no, that's far from the truth. And you know what? I just want to never hear from him again. That's the way I would like for it to end up, is that just never hear from him again, because honestly, I can walk away as if I never met him. That's kind of how cold my cutoff game is.
He clearly doesn't want to cut it off because he needs somebody to rage against, and I am not the one. My children are not the one. I am warning him. Because what I see coming for him is not good, and going live and doing a bunch of stupid crazy stuff, that's not going to help him, because I can change my mind, and one day he'll be sitting there doing a live stream going on and on and on, and he'll have the police knocking at his door because he needs to be arrested after over 10 years of stalking. It doesn't matter if I met up with him. It doesn't matter. You know how many men have stalked women and for years and years and years and talked them into going out with them, became more abusive, and then the woman had to end up going to the police and the man went to jail. So just because I met up with him does not mean that he has the right to continue to do what he's doing. And we all know it's the truth. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later. My social media is not about all this, but if people want to know the truth about me, that's the truth about me. I love my children, and you know what? I am not too old to have another one. For real, for real. So, I'm living my life. I'm living my life and enjoying my life, and my children are enjoying their lives. Just know that. It don't have to be in social media for that to be a reality. That would like I haven't had my children in social media in years because of that group of people. So, but just know we back here with all our cousins and stuff, and it's very bittersweet because my mother's not here anymore. Tony Macaroni ain't here no more. My little cousin that passed away a few years ago, he not here no more. But we are just loving being home with family. And trust me, I can protect in an entire village. I can protect. So ain't nobody worried about nothing that they talking about. Just FYI. All right, guys. I will see y'all later. Okay. Have a happy Saturday. Bye. Love you guys. Bye.